Let's have a really raw conversation about dating in your 20s. Why am I qualified to talk about this? Because I am 26. I've been dating now for 10 months, let's say. I've dated before. I'm a regular person in New York City, living through life, working, nothing special. First of all, dating when you are middle 20 sucks. Just out of college blows, especially if you're comparing it to college, especially beginning 20s. And I'm gonna speak on behalf of men for a bit just because I am a male and I'm into women. It's hard because right when you're out of college, there's two things. One, an age dynamic. All the girls under you are either in college or looking for men that are older than you because you ain't nothing. You don't have any skill sets, you don't have that much money, you're not really high placing in society, and there's plenty of better versions of you around. That's just a statistical fact. And women typically punch up, whether you like that or not, whether you think that's a degrading comment on women. Just statistically, women typically go for men who earn more, are further away in society, are older, are taller. That's just a fact. Secondly, it's about accessibility. Until now, you had college, you had hallway conversations, you had people that you could run into, and now you don't really. A lot of times people are now working from home, which physically limits you from running into people. Even if you're at the workplace dating is very taboo. If you're out and about and going clubbing and drinking and going to bars, power be to you, but there's a different kind of atmosphere there and it's not necessarily the right place to really go into serious dating. You might find the one at these bars and meet eyes and recognize that they're of quality and you're of quality and you're not there just to hook up, but realistically, the people that you meet there might not be looking for those things, or there's a bit of a barrier or anxiety within each other because you're like, I don't know if that person wants to actually be in a relationship with me or is here just to drink or do other things that I'm not interested in. And then mostly, if you're not part of a social organization or religious organization, there's not just instances where you run into people that align with your values or are looking for something. It's just availability is not there. So the only way you can really do it is either through such organizations such as work, religion, social clubs, grown-up fraternities, and random occurrences, which is very few, and then dating apps, which I'll talk about later, and then probably through people. So if you know someone and they introduce you to someone, also ideal. And then this last really tiny category of going back to someone or realizing someone that you knew for a very long time, actually you see them as a opposite gender, in love, romantic person. All that aside, with dating sucking overall in your mid-20s, the girl-guy age dynamic in your mid-20s is fascinating. I am very average, in my opinion, not really special, not balling out, not a athlete, not a celebrity, not an influencer, not brilliantly good looking. There's nothing that I really have, I would say, above the other thousands in New York City. But I think there is definitely a bump when you go from like 23, 24 to 25, 26, you start feeling a bit more valuable. I'm saying literally until last year, not much game, I should say. I've dated, and there's been people that like me, people I like back, but not at a overwhelming hot girl in the room amount. But if the hot girl in the room amount is here, and average boy at 21 until 21 is here, I think I've experienced here starting last year, until I was cut. Because you start getting interest from the range of girls that you have now surpassed / gained access to that previously didn't even consider you a candidate, either because you were too young or you just didn't have the ability, they didn't feel attracted to you because you were either of those things. And now the 21 to 26 year olds who are also out of college that you feel okay approaching. I'm personally a little bit weirded out by people out in society dating girls who just entered college, but that area of folks, and even the people that are slightly above you, now consider you a real man. And that approach definitely starts coming. And I'm saying this in the form of Instagram DMs or girls directly saying, hey, let's go on a date, asking for your number. Things like that start actually actively happening once you hit that age range. I think that's the one positive news of being 25, 26, middle of the road 20s as you enter these places. Another weird phenomenon that happens, especially if you're part of social organizations, is you start seeing a gap in the block of where I would argue the quality people have been snatched up. So there's a lot of middle 20s people in society that are looking out to get single and mingle, having fun. There's also late 30s, even mid 30s to late 30s, 40s that you now have access to because you're an adult, that are also kind of enjoying life and hanging out with themselves. They talk about marriage, but perhaps they're just like, oh, like I have my career and I don't really need to get married to be happy. Say things like that. Some are very like, I need to get married, but they haven't. The block is actually kind of missing. I've seen a lot of my peers around me, could be confirmation bias, that are in the late 20s to 30s that I view high quality. They get married. Whether you like it or not, they're the ones getting married. And it's because they recognize the high quality early. The whole game, the name of the game is to recognize them early because frankly, as a 26-year-old guy, I know I'm still very immature. I'm making YouTube videos. I am not capable of raising a family quite yet, but it's the ability to recognize this person's ability later on and catch feels for that and grab them early so no one else can snatch. Of course, this is a very objective, not romantic way of thinking about things. Love my girlfriend. I hope my girlfriend also loves me. But you have to think about these things longer term and think about statistically. Why is it that the gap between the middle, late 20s and the late 30s, 40s, that gap, why is that missing and where are those people? Probably because they're married and already snatched up. It's your ability to catch them during that time to really move on and get better. I think this is also when you start getting a realization for experience versus no experience. And I actually think that you could tell when someone had high school, college, or even early 20s dating experience, and when they completely have not. They don't understand basic know-how or culture of dating as an adult or just as a person. So I think that actually carries over. I don't really buy this you can wait till you're an adult to date and be happy theology. I think it's possible, and I think there's plenty of people that wait for a lot of things and get the goodness of it, and I think there's also merit in not having too much experience and being too picky based on your previous relationships. But I think there's some mannerisms in knowing how to date and take people out on a date and act a certain way, being yourself, but acting in a romantic dating manner that clearly could be told by people who have been single their entire life. And I also just openly don't recommend that. I think that's kind of a bad route to go, and it's very clear if you're in that category. You could just tell that these people lack dating experience and just don't know what the hell they're doing. Money and ability, especially for men, undoubtedly starts mattering. I mean, people could say we're looking at the heart. People can even say, oh, we're looking at looks only, but I think the ability to provide and the ability to carry out certain actions, go on dates, and meet up the lifestyle, regardless of where you live. Of course, I'm in New York, I'm biased, and in the hustling, bustling, but even if you're in the middle of nowhere, you still have to provide and support somehow. I think it's important to really find people that are on that same path, same road, kind of early on, because you don't want to get there and then start recognizing this person's for you, because then you start questioning, is this person liking who I am or the person I've become? It's really valuable to build that future together and then know that this person has been with you throughout all the ups and downs, and even before you achieve the thing that you were gonna achieve, and that this person has been from the start, which is why that early young marriage is, I think, valuable. That's all really to say that I am just saying basically what I'm doing, and of course, as with anyone else on the internet telling you that that's the right path, it seems that the people that follow these principles, or at least are actively thinking about these things and considering in their mid-20s to think about dating and really snatch up the quality girl or guy, tends to do great in family life, in relationships, and finding the right person. And I would like to challenge the world to return to that and open up and allow that guy to ask you on a date, or grow some balls and ask that girl on a date, because I really think there's merit and value to doing it the old school way. I hope that if you are looking for a relationship, you get a chance to. As I get older, I'm realizing different paths, but hard to ignore the facts. I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.